In this video, we'll be taking a look at all today's NBA matchups, and I'll break them all down with free winning picks so you can bet smarter and win bigger. But first, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get our picks the second they drop, because when the lines move, the early birds cash in. And if you want the full Winning Sport Picks experience, head over to wspicks.com and check out our VIP packages, or grab a free consultation with one of our professional sports consultants for the sharpest edge you'll find anywhere. That's where the real plays live. We are your bookmaker's worst nightmare. These are the games we're hammering, the ones the books can't afford you to bet. This is Winning Sport Picks. The free picks are about to drop, and they're coming in hot. We begin with Detroit versus Boston. We've got Detroit laying 2.5 on the road while Boston is catching 3.5 at home, and that already tells you this isn't a true power rating gap. It's a situational number. Road favorites in this range tend to struggle maintaining separation, especially when the home side can slow tempo and force longer half-court possessions. Boston getting the extra hook at plus 3.5 becomes the pressure side, because that's the classic spot where the favorite wins the game but never covers the number. Books hanging a total right around 228.5 signals pace, but also volatility. Both teams can spike scoring, but fourth quarter grindouts happen often in these midweek matchups, with Detroit carrying more public weight and Boston sitting in a buy low zone at home. I'm taking Boston plus 3.5, and I'm leaning into over 228.5 to take advantage of the early scoring runs that usually shape this matchup. Next, we head to New York versus Charlotte, where New York is laying 6 and Charlotte is catching 6, with the total at 236.5. This matchup has one of the purest market traps of the day. New York is a short to mid road favorite after a strong outing, while Charlotte keeps getting mispriced because the public hates backing them. New York plays slower on the road, and their offense dips in pace-dependent environments, which actually favors Charlotte's ability to trade possessions. When the Knicks have been in this number range, they don't separate unless turnovers swing the game. Charlotte tends to defend much better at home than their season-long metrics show, especially in the half court. The total at 236.5 is inflated by perception rather than reality. Both teams slow down late in competitive games. I like Charlotte plus 6 and the under 236.5. Indiana versus Toronto gives us Toronto laying 9, Indiana catching 9, and the total at 234.5. This is one of those games where the spread is entirely built off Toronto's home metrics, but Indiana actually matches up well stylistically. The Pacers perform better as dogs because they don't rely on shooting variance as much as the market assumes. They shorten possessions and force Toronto into mid-range sequences, which lowers scoring. Toronto, as a big home favorite, has been hit or miss because their offense can stagnate when teams force them into half-court execution. The total at 234.5 is aggressive for two teams that often slow late game pace when scores stay within single digits. This game carries a classic underdog cover script: control pace early, force Toronto to grind, cash the number. Give me Indiana plus 9 and the under 234.5. Minnesota versus Oklahoma City gives Minnesota plus 10.5, OKC minus 8, and a 226.5 total. Minnesota in this spot is fascinating because they've been one of the best road underdogs in low to mid total games. Oklahoma City thrives when they create pace, but Minnesota has the ability to take that away. Road dogs with elite defensive stretches tend to cover inflated road numbers because they force teams like OKC into extended possessions. The market often overestimates OKC's ability to dictate tempo in these matchups. With a 226.5 total, the game projects to slow down in the second half, which again benefits the dog. Minnesota plus 10.5 and under 226.5 is where this game naturally pulls. Milwaukee and Miami brings Milwaukee plus 8, Miami minus 7, and a total at 231.5. This is a sharp spot because Miami plays dramatically slower at home, and that plays directly into the spread dynamic. When Miami is favored by this margin, they become overly reliant on half-court execution, and Milwaukee as a road dog tends to hang around by keeping games from becoming transition battles. Both teams trend under in this number range because possessions stretch and shot quality compresses. Miami doesn't blow teams out often unless pace spikes, and Milwaukee's road profile suppresses that perfectly. I like Milwaukee plus 8 and the under 231.5. Houston versus Golden State gives Houston +2, Golden State -2, and a total at 224.5. This is one of the tightest lines of the day and a complete psychology spot. Golden State still gets public bias at home, but their volatility creates strong value for disciplined underdog bettors. Houston matches up well because they slow pace at key moments and win the possession battle. Golden State struggles in slower games when they aren't hitting early, and Houston's road defensive metrics elevate in these environments. With a modest total of 224.5, you lean toward the team that controls pace. That's Houston. I like Houston +2 and the under 224.5. San Antonio versus Portland gives San Antonio +2.5, Portland -2, and the total at 238.5. These two teams play nearly identical pace profiles when matched up head-to-head, fast early, slow late. Portland rarely covers these short home favorite numbers because they don't create defensive stops consistently enough to build separation. San Antonio thrives as a road dog in fast start games because it allows their offense to find rhythm early. Overs in these matchups rely on sustained pace, but these two historically shut it down in the fourth. Give me San Antonio +2.5 and the under 238.5. And finally, Phoenix versus Sacramento, where Phoenix catches 4 and Sacramento lays 4 with a total sitting at 233.5. Sacramento is one of the most line-sensitive teams in the league. When they're laying more than 3, they cover only when pace spikes early. Phoenix, even in down stretches, is very good at preventing those pace surges. Slower possessions benefit the dog, and Sacramento has struggled in slower games with expectation built into the line. The total at 233.5 assumes pace that likely won't materialize. This is a perfect underdog and under script. I like Phoenix +4 and the under 233.5. Now listen to me, those are the free picks, but the one game I am unloading on tonight, the game that's going to crush your bookie's soul, that's the VIP play of the day at WSPicks.com. This is the nuke, the hammer, the max bet, the one play I've circled, the game that will bury your bookmaker 6 feet under. When it hits, and it will, your bookie is going to need a doctor, a lawyer, and maybe even a priest. If you want to ride with me on the biggest bet of the day, get to WSPicks.com right now. To recap all the picks in one clean sweep, Detroit +9.5 with under 228.5, Charlotte +6 with under 236.5, Indiana +9 with under 234.5, Minnesota +10.5 with under 226.5, Milwaukee +8 with under 231.5, Houston +2 with under 224.5, San Antonio +2.5 with under 238.5, and Phoenix +4 with under 233.5. That's today's full board, all 8 games, all edges, all the numbers the books don't want you touching. This is Winning Sport Picks, where we don't just bet, we bury bookmakers. Smash that subscribe button, drop your favorite plays in the comments, and hammer that like button like you're hammering your bookie into the dirt. We're cashing, we're dominating, and tonight we're dancing on the grave of your bookmaker. Let's go!